And joining us live in studio, Christopher Rutledge, Mining and Extractives Coordinator for Action Aid South Africa, and William Mtladi is with the Emergency Services Ekurhuleni as the spokesperson. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's just start with William Mtladi. If you can just give us a sense in terms of the operations, rescue and search operations currently underway in search of this 5-year-old who was trapped in the disused mine. What can you tell us so far?
Good evening, and I'd like to take the opportunity to greet the viewers and the listeners in connection with the rescue mission that is in place around Jerusalem informal settlement in Boksburg. Yes, as a collective, emergency services work together with the Department of Mineral Resources, together with mine rescue technicians. So we worked throughout the day today and trying to retrieve that body. But what happened is we sent down the camera during the day, which went to about 120 meters down the shaft. Unfortunately, it couldn't reach at the bottom part of that shaft, which is estimated to be at 140 meters down. And from there, it hits the water bank, which is quite acidic. And but as we speak now, we are awaiting for an excavator to come on site, so as now it can also open up and level the shaft itself. So and the technicians, the rescue technicians, will be back again tomorrow after this work has been done for.
And Mr. Mtladi, maybe you can explain, you've just explained very treacherous conditions, 140-meter drop, and you know, with a water bank there as well. What are the chances, do you think, of trying to find this young boy?
The chances are there because the shaft is not basically vertically going downwards. It's on an oblique surface. So possibilities are there now to get the body. But however, our task is to try to make sure that now we search the whole shaft as far as we can and make sure that now we get to our ultimate objective of trying to retrieve that body out of that shaft.
Are you saying that the chances of survival for the boy are very slim?
The chances are quite minimal. Looking at the depth of that shaft, and if the boy might have fallen into the water, it has been proven or maybe tested that now it is quite acidic. So maybe for him to be found still alive, the chances are very minimal.
Is this a sporadic incident? Is this a first that you had to deal with as emergency services?
No, it's not the first one. We seldom, sometimes we get hold of such incidents. We have depending on the type of shaft, that when people, the patients or the victims, when they fall down the shaft, some of them that now they still hit the rocks, and we found them still.
All right, Mr. William Mtladi, your line is breaking up. We'll try and patch you again. That's a spokesperson for emergency services in Ekurhuleni, William Mtladi, and Christopher Rutledge is with the Mining and Extractives Coordinator for Action Aid South Africa. What is your role in assisting communities that are living in these toxic dump sites?
Yes, indeed. So we work with communities across South Africa, and as fate would have it, a team of people of an organization that we work with in Ekurhuleni Environmental Organization, EO, they had a team out in Jerusalem last week, working with the community and engaging them around the issue, because the issue there, besides this horror story now, is that the community is also living on a slime dump, an old mine dump that has got toxic chemicals, so the community and the children are all exposed to these toxic chemicals. And so the work that we do is working with the community to highlight these issues, to work around safety and environmental safety for the community. And so we've been highlighting these issues for a while now. And it's absolutely sad that while there does appear to be an effort to deal with the abandoned and derelict mines, that communities like this are still exposed to the most horrendous living conditions.
And these are communities that are obviously poor. They don't have access to even legal means, in terms of what their constitutional rights are, to live in a safe environment and have the dignity of being able to raise their children. Who should account for this?
I think it's the legacy of mining in South Africa is a long and complicated one. And so I think if we start to try and point fingers, then certainly the industry as a whole needs to take accountability for this. I am of the opinion that this is a class action waiting to happen. We see that there's a class action currently underway with regards to the silicosis that miners have suffered. And I think this is another area where the legacy of mining is just so pervasive. The whole of Johannesburg, the whole central Johannesburg, the Ekurhuleni, the West Rand, the East Rand area are basically polluted, are filled with these mines, with acid mine drainage, with uranium, exposure to uranium dust. So this is an issue which there is a fund set aside for it, but which government, as far as we know, has not been able to close off successfully one mine amongst the thousands of mines that exist in South Africa.
But what does the legislation say in terms of what the onus is on mines after they've obviously extracted all they want out of the land?
So the legislation as it currently stands is that when you apply for a mining license, you must have put aside certain portion of the funds for rehabilitation. That funds is managed by government. And government, once you close off the mine, government then comes in and they sign off that the mine has been closed off successfully and that the area has been rehabilitated. As far as we know, there's been no successful closures or rehabilitations in South Africa to date. So what we're sitting with is a huge problem in which the difficulty of closing off these mines is just enormous.
And we're sitting with a culture of impunity as always. But Christopher, we're going to have to leave it there. That's Christopher Rutledge, Mining and Extractives Coordinator for Action Aid South Africa. Now on to other